and welcome to January 24th Victim Compensation Board meeting. The time is 10:11. Would you please call the roll?
Chairperson Batcher.
Here.
Member Shavaro.
Here.
Member Hill.
Here.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Oops. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Item 1 is the approval of the minutes of the December 13th, 2018 board meeting. Are there any questions or corrections to the minutes?
I'll move approval. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the December 13th, 2018 board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next item is the public comment item on the agenda. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on the items that are not on the agenda today. If you'd like to comment now, please come forward. Okay, seeing none, thank you. Item number 3 is the executive officer statement. Julie, would you please give your report? She has an exciting report for us today. A show and tell report. That's the mic that's not the good mic. I think it's still unless you guys have gotten it fixed. The other meetings that I chair in this room, it's the one
All right,
that we have.
oh, that's much better. Yeah,
And that,
you're
we
right.
gotta get that
We need to do
replaced.
something about that.
Yeah, we do.
That'll be
We
next
need to
year's
get
accomplishment.
That middle one replaced.
Hopefully it won't take that long to do it. All right. Well, this is my once-a-year opportunity to come down and interact with you in a little bit different setting. I just want to have a couple of introductory remarks, and then I'm going to spend a little bit of time with you reviewing the board's accomplishments for the last calendar year. But I do want to make note that during January, our staff is focusing our outreach efforts on Human Trafficking Prevention Month, a very important topic for us. This month, we've continued to reach out to victims of the mass shooting at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks, which occurred on November 7th. This will probably repeat in the accomplishments, but it's timely and important for you to know that we have received over 279 applications, 189 from direct victims and 90 from family members or others who were impacted by that event. And we will continue to report to you on that in coming months. So now to the main event. You'll see behind you that we have a PowerPoint, and I'd like to just go through this with you. And as you know, members, and Mr. Hill, this is your first time here, we try to organize the accomplishments report kind of in line with our strategic plan. And that gives us very, clear understanding of why we are focused on the things that we focused on in the year. These are all consistent with the goals and objectives of our strategic plan. Amy, I think you can just, as I finish, you can just move on. And these numbers, again, are for calendar 2018. Our payments in the program increased over the prior year by about 17%, so about a $9 million increase from 2017 to 2018. And a good portion of this increase was due, unfortunately, to the assistance we provided to the victims of the shooting of the Route 91 Harvest Festival event in Las Vegas in October of 2017. So that's why those numbers are up. The next slide shows you kind of by category of assistance that the largest amount was for mental health treatment at about $18.1 million, then followed by $12.9 million for income and support loss, and $11.9 million for funeral and burial expenses. You'll also see that $10 million was awarded for medical treatment and about $6 million for relocation and residential security, all added together. So those are the main categories, and you'll note that over time, the change. Medical used to be our highest category, but with Affordable Care Act and other means of insurance, that has dropped over the years. Our staff in the customer service section answered 72,919 phone calls and 18,734 email messages in this past year. And when I talk about technology, you'll see some of the innovations that we have made to enable us to handle this kind of volume. Our appeals staff and hearing officers completed 1,555 appeals and reconsiderations and held 174 hearings last year. And sadly, we were presented with even more occasions to help victims of mass violence in the prior calendar year. Again, we continue to reach out to the Harvest Festival shooting victims and their families, and we've maintained our partnership with the Nevada Compensation Program on this effort, and to date we've received almost 3,500 applications and have paid out more than $4.3 million in compensation. We have applied for an anti-terrorism and emergency assistance program grant from the Federal Office of Victims of Crime to help us cover these expenses and to provide longer-term support groups for the many victims of this attack, so many of whom were California residents. In March of last year, another event, we assisted Napa County victim advocates with the response to the shooting at the Pathways Veterans Home in Yountville, where women were killed by a resident of the home and several more were held hostage for some time. This is a long report, unfortunately, but in late November, we did have the shooting of at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks. There were nearly 200 people there. They were music fans, many of whom were also victims of the attack at Las Vegas. But our mass violence field response team went to Thousand Oaks to help the Ventura victim advocates gather the applications and at an established local assistance center that was set up the day after that shooting. And there we gathered nearly 200 applications in the first few weeks after that. To date, we've received 279 applications. The field response team also assisted the Ventura advocates with forums that were held in December in an effort to assess the ongoing needs of those victims. And we continue to assist more than 175 victims in the 2015 attack in San Bernardino County. And to date, we've paid out over $1.8 million to help victims of that event. Also, in the same goal of serving victims, we received 28 PC 4900 claims from persons who have been erroneously convicted of felonies. And the board ruled on 7 claims last year with a total of $2.9 million being made available to those who were erroneously convicted. Moving on to the next goal of our strategic plan, which is optimizing technology. On October 1st, we launched the first component of our online portal, online access for service providers, and we anticipate a significant reduction in our customer service calls from providers in the first year of operation because they'll be able to access the information they're calling us to receive. They can receive directly through the portal. In the first 3 months of the operation of this, we had over 4,000 online searches. This year, our Information Technology Division has also been hard at work developing our online application. And this portal will enable applicants to apply online from a desktop computer, tablet, mobile phone, and check the status of their applications online.
That's terrific.
This is a very important project, and it's going extremely well. We're taking it, step by step, and we're going to be doing a lot of outreach on this as well to make sure that all.
Want to come over and help me at DMV?
We'll talk later. The online application will arrive just in time for Crime Victims' Rights Week this year, so we're excited to roll that out. In addition, our IT division made a transformative change to our business processes by enabling staff as well as victim advocates to directly upload documents into the claims management system. Before, we were faxing those back and forth, and just a lot of time, a lot of wasted movement. So this change bypasses that old fax technology, and so far has reduced the workload of faxes coming into us by 40%, allowing us time to focus on other aspects of the review process, and ultimately with the expectation that we will be able to reduce our overall processing time. Again, the ITD staff made a number of other significant improvements to our CARES 2 case management system, including adding more automated letters in Spanish. And they've also improved the system to extract our 1099 data, send that to FTB and IRS, again, helping us achieve greater accuracy and efficiency in those processes. In December, we rolled out a new automated call distribution system. It's called the Verizon Virtual Call Center to CalVCB's Customer Service Call Center. This new system is a significant upgrade from where we were. It's based in the cloud, allowing us more ease and flexibility in the way calls are routed. It's simpler to maintain and monitor, has better reporting features, and it even allows customer services representatives to schedule follow-up appointments with callers if they're needed. And as soon as we are completely comfortable with our ability to utilize all the features of the system, we're going to look into adding a chat feature.
Good, excellent.
Yeah.
And when it said, could you go back to that second one second? Allows scheduled follow-up with callers, does that mean that's automated? How does that work?
I think it's, I haven't actually seen it in operation, but I assume it's like when you call like CalPERS or some other places, it says the wait time is
right,
10 minutes. Please give us your phone number. We'll call you back. We anticipate we'll be able to call you back in X number of minutes.
Christie's,
Right. That, but it also allows actual scheduled follow-ups the next day. So you say, I'll call you at 3, and then the system will put that into the
That's
the
terrific.
workers'
Okay.
queue.
And what is the software on this? You know?
It's Verizon.
You said?
Yes, it's called Verizon Virtual Call Center.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, we did a lot of research on this. We knew we needed to make some improvements. It kind of got a little bit delayed because of our anticipated move. We thought we would do our new phone system then and address all of that. So we're happy that we've finally been able to find the kind of system that really works for our clients' needs.
Sounds great.
All right, now we're going to move on to our outreach goal. We were represented all over California in 2018. We attended more than 36 events or conferences to spread the word about victim compensation, represented not only by staff from headquarters at Sacramento, but also in conjunction with our staff at our local county offices. We call them JPs. Highlights include presentations at Survivors Speak, a 2-day conference which is sponsored by Californians for Safety and Justice, and at the 2018 Youth Empowerment Summit, which was sponsored by the California Coalition for Youth. In addition, we provided training to 2,756 victim advocates from both county victim assistance centers and from community-based organizations. So a combination of types of advocates that we really depend on so much to ensure that victims know about the program. We held a total of 22 forums that reached 265 mental health providers, and we also participated in 5 Cal OES crisis response trainings where county victim advocates and emergency responders learn best practices for responding to mass violence. So that's part of our partnership with OES. We also continued our support of the trauma recovery centers, making 6 awards, including a new TRC in Riverside County, which brings the total of trauma recovery centers across California to 12. The centers provide mental health treatment and case management services to underserved crime victims. And in last year, those TRCs served a total of 4,348 clients and provided 8,713 counseling sessions in those TRCs. As you know, the program is funded through a $2 million appropriation from the Restitution Fund annually and an annual allocation from the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. And just as a side note, without getting the specific dollar amounts, we have seen an increase in the governor's budget is projecting an increase in the amount that we will receive for budget year 1920. So
How much?
it's growing. I think, can someone remember the number for me? It went from 7.5. Yes, I think it started like 4 something. Yeah, it started in the $4 million range, and over the last couple of years, it's grown. So that's a significant increase. Yeah. And this year, for the first time, I think it's a picture here, we hosted a conference of the TRCs in Los Angeles in November, where they were able to meet and learn from each other as well as dialogue with us. Providing leadership is another one of our important goals in our strategic plan. And in August, several of us attended the 2018 VOCA Joint National Training Conference. This biannual conference is for state victim compensation programs and state victim assistance programs, so our program and OES in the California model. We took a leadership role in the conference, as we always do, and presented 5 workshops. Christy and I presented a workshop on using social media to spread awareness. Lorenda participated in a panel on rethinking compensation rules for sexual assault and domestic violence victims. Christy had another panel on technology claims management, and Robin presented 3 workshops, one on providing trauma-informed services, one on dental pre-authorization, and one on managing mental health benefits. As always, California shines in these national events, and we are always asked to present multiple workshops on the kind of cutting-edge stuff that we're doing here. So it's a proud moment for us. I think you know I serve as a vice president of that organization, and as such have a real opportunity to work with the leadership of that organization as well as the assistance organization in making sure that we are aware of things that are going on across the country, and that we can also reach out and help our counterparts in the other states do some of the innovative things that we've come up with. So. All right, for the 3rd year, we co-sponsored the Leave No Victim Conference in September. This is a conference on mass violence response and effective partnership between law enforcement and victim services. There are more than 200 attendees, and they heard from survivors, first responders, and service providers involved in not only the mass violence events that I spoke of that we've been involved with in California and Nevada, but the First Baptist Church shooting in Sutherland Springs, Texas, the Majority Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida, and others. So that is, again, a wonderful way for us to bring our mass violence response expertise to the kind of the national level, because this particular event draws participants from across the country. And I was very honored in April to receive the Suzanne Mcdonald Memorial Award for Leadership in Raising Public Awareness for Victim Services from Congressman Jim Costa of Fresno and former Congressman Ted Poe of Texas. This award is presented annually by the Congressional Victims' Rights Caucus and recognizes individuals and organizations who have used their voice to promote and bring change at the national level for crime victims. I was specifically recognized for leading the design and implementation of our multilingual survivor outreach programs and public awareness campaigns about compensation, and for reaching across state lines in response to the mass shootings in Las Vegas to ensure that hundreds of Californians in that attendance received the information that they needed. So I was very proud to represent us there. We continue to support our small business and disabled veterans communities, and this year we received an Outstanding Achievement Award from the Department of General Services for those efforts. 45% of our contracts went to small business this year, and 31% of our contracts went to businesses owned by disabled veterans, more than doubling the percentage from last year. We are a small department, but we know how to focus our efforts at making sure that we can provide opportunities for these types of businesses to thrive.
That's terrific, and the requirement is 25%
Right.
for small business and 3% for disabled veterans. So these are outstanding numbers.
Thank you. Very
Great.
proud of them. And our another goal we have is the importance of being a nimble organization that is adaptive and prepared to meet future needs. So let me just highlight a little bit here. In 2018, we've launched and are just about to wrap up now an effort with our partners at Cal OES to develop a statewide strategic plan for delivering victim services. The plan is just about complete. We have mission, vision, goals, objectives, strategies, and actually this afternoon, I'm anticipating this is our final meeting to really nail down the specific action steps that we are committing ourselves to ensure the success of our efforts being more collaborative and reflecting both organizations' missions in a way that is kind of seamless to the public. And I'll just share with you the goals of the strategic plan in their current state. We still plan to do some outreach to our stakeholders and conduct some online forums to make sure that we can hear from them, and we'll treat this as a draft until that time, and make sure that we get input from them to make sure we're on the right track. But we've identified 4 goals for the plan. The first is victims of crime and their families are aware. The goal is that victims of crime and their families are aware of the resources available to them. Goal number 2 is that victims and their families can access services easily. Third goal is victims and their families can receive trauma-informed and trauma-centered services. And that final goal is services for victims and their families are delivered in a coordinated, effective, and efficient manner. So there's a lot of depth behind those goal statements, and our challenge was to come up with goal statements that encompass the work of both organizations, so that it sends a clear message to the entire state that the state of California is seriously committed to ensuring that victims are provided with the assistance that they need. I will share more with you as we continue to interact with our stakeholders and we finalize the plan. And at that time, I'll give you a more detailed overview of what kind of the specific things are that we're talking about. It's a really exciting project. I don't know, in my many years in state service, I don't know of any other departments who have come together to develop a strategic plan. So this is kind of groundbreaking for us. And Arabelle, I thank you for your leadership on this.
It's been very important, and I'm glad that you and I sort of had this thought for several years, and it's finally coming to fruition, so it's wonderful.
And similarly, we worked with our partners at Cal OES in submitting to the governor the report that was called for in last year's budget and provisional language that called for us to study and come forth with a recommendation for combining the state's victim services programs. That was completed and is in final review, and hopefully will be ready for public review fairly soon.
And transmitted to the legislature.
Right.
At least that's what we think.
Well, that is an important expected step, and then we'll engage others. And final couple of slides here, again, meeting future needs. We continue to look forward to and anticipate our future needs for our staffing, and we began implementation of a learning management system called Blackboard, and I know, Secretary, you're familiar with this. In the spring of last year, we rolled out the first component of Blackboard, and that was the web conferencing tool called Collaborate. which replaces WebEx. It's much easier to operate, much more effective, and it's more cost effective as well. And throughout the year, we continue to configure the other components of Blackboard, including the design and delivery of training, as well as online registration and record keeping. And we just officially began using those portions of the system this month. We had some sessions with our leadership here, and then that followed up with an all-staff meeting where we rolled this out to the staff and showed them how we expect this to be a better online in-person training opportunity. It's very agile and an adaptive environment. The presenter who worked on the project said, "You're really going to like this because it's just like shopping at Amazon. You know, you click here and it goes in your cart, and you click, I want this training, that training, and you put it in your cart, and then you just, the best part is you don't have to pay for it. You just hit the button, and you're registered in all these classes." So the staff got a big kick out of that.
Yeah, and it's cloud-based too.
It is, and it's been purchased for use statewide by CalHR, and we will continue to grow our experience with it and help other departments and agencies who have an interest in it know just how well it's served our needs. And finally, we were honored to be chosen by CalHR to participate in a workforce and succession planning effort, and you were there for our graduation. And through this process, we've developed a robust workforce as well as succession plan. So there's many, many components to that. We appreciated the help that we got from CalHR, and I know in my position, I think the rest of the exec team feel confident that the work that we've put into both workforce and succession planning lays a strong foundation for the future of the organization. As time goes on, many of us are approaching retirement opportunities, and it's really important for the organization to have that forward look, to be able to know that as people move on and new people come in, the plan is in place to make that smooth, so that we don't lose the institutional knowledge that is so important to every organization. So, after 20 pages of slides and a lot of information, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share all of this with you. And on behalf of all the staff, thank you so much for your continued support and encouragement of the work that we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie, and the staff. This has been, you just want to go, whew, what a year. Truly, it's been a great year in terms of serving the victims of not only the state of California, but those of Nevada, and great strides and accomplishments in the technological area of the board that, again, better serves the end user. And I always think of our end users as both our frontline employees as well as the customers and people we serve, because by easing their job, they are then also able to better serve and be better valued by the customers. So that's terrific. So it's been an incredible year, and good that you've also been honored at the national level.
Thank you. Well, it's, I have the privilege of representing this organization, but, it goes without saying, but I will say it. This is not me doing this. This represents the work of all the people that are sitting behind me today, and those upstairs and those in the county areas. This is truly a passion that folks here have, and it's reflected in the outcomes of the year. So thank you.
Really remarkable, and my sincere thanks to staff too, Julie. Any other comments or questions of Julie on her report? Her 20-page report? I would like a copy of the slides if I could, please.
I will give them to you before you leave.
Good, thank you. Okay. All right, moving on then. The next item is the contract report. Julie, I think you're going to give us that as well. Sorry, I'll let you get seated.
All right, we have two items for you today, both in the area of IT. The first is contract with the Department of Technology, and this is for Microsoft licensing and a 3-year enterprise agreement, and involves desktop and Office Suite software. This is in the amount of $470,168.10. And I'll just do the other one, and then you can,
Sure,
I think one vote will
absolutely.
suffice. The second one is for a vendor called Crayon. This is for Microsoft Database SQL Server Core licenses and Microsoft Application Programming Software Suite in total amount of $326,156.95.
Okay, I think that Member Hill has a question.
No, I'm ready to.
Oh, to make the motion, okay. The motion has been made and seconded to approve the contract report as just read by Julie. Thank you. Oh, all in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, moving on to item number 5, which is the Penal Code Section 4900 claim of Deshaun Reed that will be presented by our Chief Counsel. And Lorinda, would you like to brief us on this case?
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, Member Hill, and Member Shavaro. Deshaun Reed seeks compensation for his wrongful conviction and incarceration pursuant to Penal Code Section 4900. In May of 2014, a jury convicted Deshaun Reed of second-degree murder and first-degree murder, both with true findings of special circumstances. The trial court sentenced Mr. Reed to life in prison without the possibility of parole and also imposed concurrent terms for the firearm enhancements. In 2017, the California Court of Appeal granted Mr. Reed's habeas petition and vacated his conviction. Several months later, the Alameda County District Attorney's Office dismissed the underlying case in the interests of justice and also due to insufficient evidence. In October of 2018, Mr. Reed filed a motion requesting a finding of factual innocence, which the Superior Court subsequently granted. Pursuant to Penal Code Section 1485.55, the Board is bound by this finding of factual innocence and thereby mandated to recommend to the Legislature that an appropriation be made in the amount of $369,460 for the 2,639 days that Mr. Reed spent in custody. Appearing for claimant via telephone is Ronald K. of K. McLean, Bednarski, and Litt. Craig Myers is appearing for the Attorney General's office. The Board did not receive a response to the initial claim from the Attorney General's office, nor did it receive an opposition to the proposed decision.
Okay, thank you. Is Mr. Craig on the, no, excuse me, I'm sorry, Mr. K, is he on the phone?
Yes, Your Honor. This is Ronald K. appearing telephonically on behalf of the claimant, Deshaun Reed.
Great, would you like to make a statement, Mr. K?
No, we would just submit to the proposed order of the staff, and thank you for your attention to this matter.
Okay, thank you, sir. Would the Attorney General like to make a comment?
I'll just state my appearance, Craig Myers with the Attorney General's office, and we have no objection to the proposed decision.
Okay, great, thank you. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
I have one question. Was there ever any, further investigation on this case to find who the suspects were and have they gone to court, or there was no comment in the document about that?
I know, it just leaves it open.
Right.
So it's still open?
Well, Your Honor, excuse me, Sir Board Member, one of the suspects was convicted and is serving and is presently in the custody in the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. The other suspect, who there was forensic evidence in the getaway vehicle demonstrating likely involvement in the case, in the murders, has since deceased.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept staff recommendation on item 5, the Penal Code Section 4900 claim of Deshaun Reed. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You as well. Okay, we will now move on to the Victim Compensation Program portion of our agenda. The board will convene in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 11126C3 to discuss numbers 1 through 45 of the Victims Compensation Program. Okay, thank you. The board is reconvening in open session pursuant to Government Code Section 11126C3. Do we have a motion for numbers 1 through 45 of the Victims' Compensation Program?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept staff recommendations on numbers 1 through 45 of the Victims' Compensation Program. Is there any other discussion on these items? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board at this time? Seeing none, we stand adjourned. The next meeting is scheduled to occur February 21st. Thank you all very much, and thank the staff again for an incredible year. The report was quite stunning.